The soft glow of candlelight flickered across the restaurant, casting warm shadows on the wooden walls and creating an intimate, cozy atmosphere. It was the kind of setting that should have made me feel at ease. But instead, I could feel a familiar restlessness stirring inside me. Sebastian sat across from me, relaxed, his easy smile as natural as ever. We had been seeing each other for months, and things had been good. Fun, effortless. Yet tonight felt different. There was a weight in the air, something unspoken that had been building within me for weeks. The evening had started like so many others. We'd ordered something simple, comfortable, nothing fancy, just the way we liked it. But as Sebastian began talking about the future, my thoughts wandered to the conversations I'd been having with myself lately. I couldn't keep it in any longer. There was something I needed to say, something I couldn't ignore any longer, no matter how much I wanted to avoid it. As I listened to Sebastian talk, I felt a knot form in my stomach. He looked so at ease, so content with where we were, but I knew I couldn't stay in this place, not in the way he might have hoped. My gaze shifted to the flickering candle between us, and I realized that the flame was like my own need for movement, constantly flickering, never still. I had always known I wasn't the type to settle down easily. There was a deep, unshakable urge within me to keep moving, to keep exploring the world around me. I wasn't made for routines or permanent roots. The future, to me, was an open horizon, endless, full of possibility, and I wanted to chase it with everything I had. It wasn't something I could turn off or quiet down. It was who I was, and tonight, I had to make Sebastian understand that. As I picked at my food, my mind wandered to all of the times I had felt this pull to something beyond. It wasn't just about traveling or seeing new places. It was about the freedom to choose my own path, to live my life on my terms. I couldn't lock myself into one place, one plan, one way of living. The world was too big, and I hadn't even scratched the surface of what it had to offer. I glanced up at Sebastian, still smiling, still waiting for me to answer. I knew I had to be honest with him, even if it meant disrupting the calm we had built together. He deserved to know the truth, and I needed to be true to myself. The thought of settling down in one place, whether it was San Francisco or anywhere else, felt suffocating. I couldn't picture myself living a life that didn't involve constant discovery, movement, and change. It wasn't about not caring for him, or anyone else for that matter. It was about the simple fact that I wasn't wired for a conventional life. The idea of staying in one spot, building something static. It wasn't for me. I had seen what happened when people tried to force themselves into a life that didn't fit. They ended up resentful, restless, always longing for what could have been. I didn't want that for myself, and I didn't want it for Sebastian either. Love, to me, wasn't about holding on too tightly. It was about giving each other room to breathe, to grow, to explore. It was about finding balance between being together and being free. I looked around the restaurant at the couples seated at other tables, their quiet conversations blending into the soft murmur of the room. Most of them probably had their futures mapped out, steady jobs, shared homes, plans for what came next. But that wasn't what I wanted. My future was uncharted, a wide-open landscape waiting for me to explore. And if I didn't go now, when would I? As I sat there, the truth settled into my bones. I wanted Sebastian in my life, but not in the way most people would expect. I needed the freedom to pursue my dreams, to keep my eyes on the horizon, even if it meant we wouldn't always be in the same place at the same time. I knew that was a lot to ask. Most people wanted certainty, a clear direction. But for me, the beauty of life was in its unpredictability, in the unknown paths yet to be discovered. I met Sebastian's gaze, and in that moment, I knew he could sense what was coming. He didn't say anything, but there was a shift in his expression, something between understanding and concern. It wasn't easy to tell someone you cared about that you couldn't follow the same path as them. But I knew I had to, because staying silent would only lead to more confusion, more hurt later on. I could see the wheels turning in his mind, the quiet contemplation as he tried to make sense of it all. He had always known I was different, that I wasn't like most people when it came to relationships or the future. And now, sitting here, in the flickering candlelight, I could see him grappling with what that meant for us. For me, love didn't mean giving up who I was. It meant sharing my life with someone, yes, but it also meant having the freedom to continue exploring, growing, changing. It wasn't about fitting someone into my world in a way that made me feel trapped. It was about walking side by side but not holding each other back. I wanted that kind of balance, and I hoped Sebastian could see that too. As we finished dinner, I felt lighter. I had said what needed to be said, and whether or not Sebastian fully understood in that moment, I knew I had been true to myself. The future was still wide open, and that's exactly how I wanted it to be. As we stepped outside into the cool evening air, the city lights twinkling in the distance, I felt a deep sense of calm. Whatever happened next, whether Sebastian and I found a way to make it work or not, I knew I was on the right path. The horizon was waiting, and I was ready to chase it, no matter where it took me.